So I would love to know from you, what is your favorite love song? Oh, they don't generally ask that in church, right? So anyone? Ladies first, yes.
So amazing, Luther Vandross.
Luther Vandross, yes, so amazing. Oh, anyone else? Daryl had a love song.
Careless Whisper.
Careless Whispers. That one. Yeah. It's shocking that I didn't know that. Yeah, it really is getting hard me actually. Not because we're talking about love. It really is. Yeah, anyone else? Thanks, babe. No one wants to admit what their favorite love song is. Sharon's got one.
Diana Ross and Lionel Richie.
Yeah?
My Endless Love.
My Endless Love. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that was the 80s, right? Yeah. Everyone's thinking like, I came to church to hear a sermon. Like, what is this? One last one. Any other love songs? What's that one from the 90s? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. That's not my favorite one. No, it's not.
Wasn't that fun and
So, my favorite love song of all time is, the word love is not even in the song, but it's Unforgettable by Natalie Cole and Nat King Cole, father and daughter duet. But for me, it just captures what love is, you know. And this is our second value as a church, which is true love is the essence of what it means to be human. Because we were created and made by love, that means we are created and made for love. Right? And when we come out of the womb, that's what we're crying for. You know, I mean, my favorite love song doesn't have the word love in, but it captures love, you know. And so, for example, if you are looking for acceptance, what you're actually looking for is love. If you're looking for significance, what you're actually looking for is love. You're looking for someone to say, hey, there's value and worth in you. When you're looking for belonging, when you're looking for forgiveness, what you're actually looking for is love, because God is love, and all these good things that He made us for is under the umbrella of love. Now, I've been going through novels like crazy, and I recently read A Passage to India. I don't know if you've ever read A Passage to India. It was written 100 odd years ago in 1924, and it's rated as number 62, I think, the best novels ever written. And it's a fascinating story because it's about these British people who are in India, obviously during colonization. And there's this young woman who finds herself there, and there's a young man who finds himself there, and they are bitterly disappointed with life because they can't find love. You know, they can't find love. And so this is what they end up saying. So the guy says, I no longer want love, he said, supplying the word. And then she says, no more do I. My experiences have cured me, but I want others to want it. Hey, isn't that interesting? It's almost like spoken like a cynic, you know. I've been searching for love, and I don't find it, but I want others to find it. Because she somehow knows that we are made for love. Yeah. And she's so disappointed. What's fascinating is at the end of the page, this is what he says. He says, you know, he says in India, I have never felt more happy and secure out here. I really do get on with Indians, and they do trust me. Hang on a second. This is a guy who says he doesn't want love anymore, but in the same breath, he's saying he's found happiness, he's found security, he's found trust. Man, that sounds like love to me. You know what I mean? I mean, on those three, the ingredients of love, right? Happiness, security, trust. You see, we're all looking for love, but we don't use the same word. Because that's how we were created, you know? And unfortunately, we live in a world where we experience the opposite of love. Now, I know that a lot of people will say, you know, a lot of the opposite of love is maybe hurt or, you know, pain or whatever, but I like to think that the opposite of love is betrayal. Because if you think about it, betrayal is someone who used to see you as worthy, someone who used to see you as valuable, someone who used to see you as someone who could be a friend or a partner or whatever, and they no longer see that about you. That's painful. And that is the human experience from childhood. Man, think about the friendships you have at school. I mean, kids experience betrayal so deep, right? Because friends who used to be friends now no longer want to be friends with them. Do you know how deeply that cuts? I mean, remember to talk about our adult experiences. You know, so because we experience so much betrayal in this world, it's like when you grow up, you are almost averse to love. You know, you're closed off. And so even when you see true love, you experience true love, you're like, I'm not sure. You know, do these people really love me for who I am? Or do they love me because of what I bring to the table? You know, so we start to doubt. And so our communities become places of less and less love. So much so that even those who are hungry for love, looking for love, don't find it anymore. And this is such an important value for our church because we want to be not the embodiment of love, because Jesus is the embodiment of love, but we want to be the kind of loving community that when people come across us, when they come and spend time with us, they know I'm loved. I mean, I was so encouraged. Ruben sent me that message last Monday, I think, and he was here last Sunday, and one of the words he said was, I felt loved here. And I was like, good on you, Pulse, because we have someone who's joined us for the first time and they felt loved. But from what I can see, Ruben loves Jesus because he's even got a t-shirt that says, Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life. But what about someone who walks in here who's not like you at all? Who does not believe in Jesus? Perhaps who has a different sexual orientation than what you would approve of. What then? You know, that's a true test of whether you really see value and worth in another human being. So I want to go to 1 John from verse 10. Actually, just 1 John 4, verse 10. This is just a single verse in this entire book that captures, I think, the heart of true love. And this is what 1 John 4:10 says. This is real love. You can use the word real for true. It's the same thing. This is real love. This is true love. Not that we loved God, but that He loved us. And He sent His Son as a sacrifice to take away our sins. You see, there was something in us that was marring and distorting His image in us. And what was that? It was sin, right? We like to describe it as so many things, but ultimately that's what it is. It's a violation of what is most precious and beautiful and valuable about us. And God could not stand for it. Think about it. The people that He made, He could not stand for the fact that the very thing that kept us from Him, the very thing that marred us, was something that had to be what? Taken away. I love that about Jesus. Because the first thing I want to say about true love is true love sees value in others. True love really sees value in others. I wonder how many beliefs, theological beliefs, doctrinal beliefs that we have adopted over the years that may be toxic to our souls, that maybe makes us see less than the way God sees us. Because when God looked at us, He saw that we were His image bearers, but He saw that something had marred and corrupted that, right? And God would not stand for it. He would not stand for the value of an image bearer of Him that He has created to continue forever and ever and ever. So He goes, I see value in you, I'm going to come and sort it out. That's true love, friends. But here's the problem, here's what we wrestle with as human beings. Is the way we see ourselves is often psychologically we project it onto others. So if you don't see any value in yourself as an image bearer of God, you will struggle to see value in another image bearer of God. And this is where it's so sad, because so many of our relationships, so much of our pain, so much of our betrayal has made us feel less, has made us feel small, has made us feel insecure, made us feel unworthy, made us want to hide. Yeah? We've spoken about that a lot. And Jesus came to say, no, I'm going to change that, man. Because I see value in you as someone who I've created, as someone who I want back to myself. I wonder where you are today when you think about how you see yourself. Because either you can think of yourself too highly, or you can think of yourself too poorly. And God's saying, no, I want to change your status. You are now no longer a sinner, now you are a saint. You're now no longer an orphan, now you're a son, man. You're a daughter. You can wake up in the morning knowing that your dad owns the universe. Ooh, that does something to your soul, hey? Do you see yourself as someone of that kind of value? Because then you'll see value even in the person standing by the robot begging for food. Man, you'll see value in someone who's in a wheelchair, who cannot move, who's paralyzed. You'll see value in someone who's lying in the hospital bed, who's vegetable, literally. Machines are keeping them alive, but yet an image bearer of God. You know, this is our dear brother Brad. His sister is on her deathbed. He was saying to us yesterday, it's basically machines keeping her alive, and she's like your age, Daryl. And like she is, but he sent me a photo of her, and that's not who she is. I mean, she got saved in this church 2020 Christmas. That's when she gave her life to Jesus. And now look at her. It seems like there's no life in her, but yet even as she's lying in the hospital bed, we see the image of God in her. There is value in that person. True love sees value in others, friends. I would love for us to recognize the value that is in you and what Christ did for you. You see, often the value of something is determined by how much you're willing to pay for it, right? Think about it. What you're willing to pay for something determines the value of that thing. And if God was willing to pay by giving himself up for you, that means there's incredible value in you. True love sees value in others. Sure. We can go on and on about that. The next thing about true love is true love takes initiative. This is what I love about God, is he sees us and then he comes and he takes away our sins. He takes initiative. Like he takes the first step. You know, as human beings, we live in a world we're often waiting for the other person to take the first step. You know, if they don't do, then I won't. If they don't love, then I won't. But that's not like our God, because our God takes the first initiative. He sees and he goes, here's something that needs fixing. Here's a problem that needs fixing. Here's the people that need love. Here's the people that need life. And, you know, I myself, I'm still on that journey, because often I myself, I'm timid and I'm scared, because I don't know if I get involved, I might end up in a mess. You know? I mean, I was thinking about our neighbor on our right, who, especially Kirsty, has gone to know in the last little while, but she's in the process of a divorce. And it's like her kids, she's got 3 ranging from 2 to 5. You know, and okay, maybe I got the ages wrong, but they're very young kids, you know. But here's the thing, like in April, I got home late after a meeting. It was about 7:15, and I just hear her husband, who's in the process of getting divorced, he's outside and he's screaming, but like I was shivering in the car, because the way he was talking, like it sounded so dangerous. It seemed like she had locked him out of the house, because he was just, you know. And this is not new to us. We've been hearing this on and on, going on for a long time. So we're concerned about her safety. And the next thing you know, she sends Kirsty a message. And she's like, please call the police urgently. You know, so now she's fearing for her life. So I'm like, you know, should we? Because I'm afraid, because I have visions of this guy coming and beating me up. Because, you know, he's that kind of a guy. But we're like, no, she's fearing for her life. And so, to cut a long story short, we end up calling the police, and he ended up in the cell for the night, and the next day he drove off to KZN, and now they're busy filing for divorce. But we are devastated for this woman. absolutely devastated, and we're thinking like, how do we get involved? Because in the beginning we're like, should we offer marriage counseling? But like we were sure they would be like, they wouldn't want it, because they're that kind of people. Like, you mind your own business, right? That's how they come across. You stay on your side of the wall, we stay on our side of the wall. So I was like, I don't know, but now I'm having second thoughts. I'm like, maybe if we offered marriage counseling, they wouldn't have gotten divorced. So I'm wrestling with myself. Like, did I not take enough initiative? Did I not see the pain that this couple was embroiled in and stepped in? And I don't want to live in regrets, but even as I was thinking about taking initiative, do I take enough initiative to come in and be the love and light that God can use through me, Man, I don't know, but like, I know that God takes initiative, And so now Kirsten and I are talking, okay, now how can we love this woman and her children in the midst of this, So we're thinking about that. But it's like, I think sometimes we get lazy because we're scared of the repercussions. We're scared that things will get messy. But man, God came and got messy. He got into the mess with us. He got his hands dirty. Man, I wonder whether we take enough initiative. Right? So, can I share what we want to do as men? Is that okay? Okay, cool. So yesterday we had our men's breakfast. Got to get our elders on the same page, because I might say something and be like, you shouldn't have said that, it's too soon, But so we're talking as men about how we can take initiative, right? How we can get involved in our community. And we have children in our church, right? Who are not connected to their fathers. And so we're thinking, well, how do we start creating a space where the men in our church are taking initiative and coming alongside our younger boys and our younger girls, creating a safe space to connect, And yesterday, one of the men said, our kids love games, they love activities, they love sports. And so as the men were like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to finalize plans tomorrow night online, but this is what we're going to do, is that once a month, we are going to get together as men, and for about an hour and a half or so, maybe longer, we're going to create a space here where we're going to have a blast with our kids. Right? We're going to do sports, we're going to do games, we're going to do activities. But what we're hoping for is, even though it starts with our church and hopefully the people in the school, but that people will see that, hey, we just want to love your kids. Right? We just want to show them that as men, you can trust men. A while ago there was that hashtag men are trash. Well, some men may be trash, but not all men are trash, right? We want to show them, because the greatest man who ever lived took initiative in our lives, and we are today. We are filled with joy, we feel with happiness, filled with freedom. We want to come and take initiative for other people. So that's what we're going to do as men. Just the one initiative that we're going to start to take. Yeah, can say it out loud so that everyone can hear. Come on. Yes. Boy, so true love really takes initiative, because that's what God did with us. And then the next thing is true love sacrifices for others, right? This is true love, not that we love God, but that He loved us and sent His Son as a sacrifice to take away our sin. I really believe that you never truly love someone unless it costs you something. Right? Unless it costs you something. Then it's starting to be true, because it's coming from the truest part of you. Because the truest part of you is saying, I have something of me that's valuable, I'm willing to sacrifice it because I see value in you. See, that's when true love really begins to have an effect on other people. I'll never forget a pastor friend of mine who knew a family way back, and that family immigrated to Australia, and I hadn't heard from them in years. And in the meantime, I think it was a wife who came to believe in Jesus, but the husband wasn't a believer. But then he got this urgent message from the wife, and she said, he's dying. He's on his deathbed. Won't you come? Won't you come to Australia and just come and share with him the love of Jesus so that he may believe before he goes? what would you have done? He did it. He got the next flight to Australia, went across various time zones, like 14 hours or whatever the time difference is, 9 hours, 10 hours, flew there just to be by his bedside, to share the love of Jesus, and flew right back. I mean, he was supposed to be gone for just a few days. But he did that. That example will always stand out to me. Never mind the cost of the plane ticket to Australia, but just the fact that he would fly over there across the world just to be by his bedside, because this guy trusted this pastor. You know, so even though he's not a Christian, he saw that this is being a good guy for my family. So he was the right person to come and share the love of Jesus with this guy on his deathbed. Wow, like, I'm just thinking, man, what if I sacrifice? What if we sacrifice? We can love out of our comfort, and that's great. But the way God loved us was sacrificial. Because then that's when you know it's true. That's when you know it's true, right? Because it's sacrificial. If it's not sacrificial, often it's not true. True love is deeply, deeply sacrificial. Because that's how we've been loved by God. And so I want to end with 1 John 3:16. Now, we know John 3:16, but often we don't bear in mind 1 John 3:16, which is, I think, as equally as powerful. And in 1 John 3:16 says this: we know what real love or true love, we know what true love is because Jesus gave up his life for us. So we also ought to give up our lives for our brothers and sisters. This is true love, right? Because Jesus gave up his life for us, and so we also ought to give up our lives for our brothers and sisters. You see, this is what it truly means to be human, because when you start to really understand and grasp the love that you've received it. Now you can begin to give it. Now you can begin to give it. You see, that's how human beings are made. We're made to receive and give, receive and give, receive and give. And that's why even the scripture says there's more blessed to give than to receive, because there's something about you when you know you're giving something valuable of yourself to others. That's when you're actually fully alive. When you keep it to yourself, you'll always be unhappy, because that's not how we're made. We're always made to be a channel of love and life and blessing to others, sacrificially. You know, I mentioned this analogy before, but like, it still astounds me, this story of Jim Elliot and Nate Saint and 3 other young men in the 1950s who heard that there was a tribe, I think, in Colombia or in one of the native South American lands, who had not yet heard of the love of God for them, and not yet heard about Jesus. And they're really savage tribes, you know, and they decided, okay, we're going to do it. We're young men, in our late 20s, I think they were. We're going to do it. And so, cut a long story short, they embarked on this journey where first they did some scouting in the area, and eventually they took a plane and they landed 5 of them on a beach, and they were never heard of after that. And eventually people sent out scouts to try and figure out what had happened, and they were all savagely murdered by the tribes, because they're like, you know, who are these people, strange looking people coming to share the love of Jesus with us? But here's the beautiful thing about God, is that the story does not end in tragedy. You see, it's like the story of the cross, right? Any onlooker would go and go, see that man, he's dying on the cross. The story does not end there, you see? Because what happens was the wives of these men, the wives of Nate Saint and Jim Elliot, decided that the story would not end there, because God is determined to love this tribe. And so we are going to carry on the work that our husbands started. 50 years later, because this was in the 60s, I think, 50 years later, not only is that entire tribe saved and loving Jesus, but now they are evangelizing to the other tribes. The very guys with spears who murdered Nate Saint and Jim Elliot are now elders of churches in that area. Now tell me that's not an enduring story. Tell me that is not true sacrifice. So whilst these men, I salute them, I also salute the wives, man, who have the guts to actually go back and carry on the work that the husband started. True love takes initiative. True love sacrifices. But the fruit, oh my goodness, the fruit of it is unyielding. It multiplies, multiplies, multiplies. You see that it multiplies from one generation to the next. You see, I believe every human being in this world is desperately searching for love. Is desperately searching for love. And when they don't find it, they become reclusive. And their soul becomes even more and more toxic and broken. But we, surely, friends, we the ones who have experienced unconditional love, sacrificial love, when we were helpless. When we were helpless, God saw value in us, and then He took initiative, and ultimately He sacrificed for us. That's why I believe God is a happy God. That's why joy is His primary emotion. That's why in the fruit of the Spirit, all the characteristics of God, the only emotion there is joy. Because He's happy, because He loves. And He loves to see people restored. He loves to see people's brokenness being healed. He loves people becoming who He intended them to be. He loves it. And we should love it too. We should love it too. So this is the kind of church that we ought to be, right? So we're not as obsessed about how many bums we have on these chairs on a Sunday. We're more obsessed about how we are loving one another and the world. That's why I'm so excited about this initiative we're going to be doing as men and other things in the future, because we're becoming like Jesus. Because becoming like Jesus, no longer dominated by fear, right? Because the scriptures say perfect love expels out all fear. I believe that's the reason why we don't love, is we're so scared. We're scared of the consequences. What if I give, I might have less. If I get involved, then I might get involved in something I'm no longer in control of. You know, all that is fear-based, motivated. But true love expels all of that. It says, man, I have love that continually is poured out to me. Right? That's what the scriptures, God has put out His love into our hearts by the Holy Spirit, right? And so, man, if you're sitting here today and you struggle to receive love, maybe God wants to show you today that, man, your life will never be the same if you open up your heart and receive the love that I have for you. You will be so transformed that you'll start to become the person that I created you to be. When you receive that love, you can't but give it, because it's like, look at you don't have enough space to hold it, right? If God keeps pouring love into you, it just keeps flowing out of you. You become this endless cycle, this channel of love for the rest of the world. I believe even as you're sitting here, like God is prompting your heart and your spirit, like, who do I need to love like that? Maybe you've lost hope in someone, but maybe you've lost hope in them because all you're seeing is their works. All you're seeing is their behavior. You're not actually seeing the God image in them. Yeah? You're judging them by their behaviors. I think it was Darrell mentioned on, but God sees the heart. You don't know the pain that they're going through. You don't know that the kind of worldview they have today is because of what they've been in the past. God just wants you to come alongside them and show them His love. And watch Him transform that person through you and through your love. You know, not just the world is starved of this love, the churches are starved of this love. I mean, how many churches have we all been in all of our lives? And how many of us can truly say that we've experienced true love, genuine love that comes from the deepest part of who people are? Because you can see that that person is drinking love from God. They're swimming in that love. God is a great rescuer, and that's what love does. He rescues from the very thing that mars people's image, that distorts our image. Man, this morning, I want us to just think about how this value, true love, flows from our first value, which is that every human being is unique. Every human being is worthy, and every human being has a unique story. You see, the values that we have in our church, they're all connected. They're not just randomly put together. They're all connected because this is how we want to love. Because every human being who walks into our space, whether it's here, whether it's in our homes, whether it's in our community groups, whatever, like, they must know that I've been loved. I've been loved. And these people don't give up on me. Because this is what happens, right? We give up on people. We give them a little bit of grace, like, I'll give you like a few weeks or a few months, or even a few years. Oh, you're not behaving that way? I've given up on you. But God is so patient. We'll explore that in the love series later on in the year. Love is patient. See how patient God has been with you, man. Right? Yeah, I think I've said enough. Let me pray.